Hello, I'm Rythian and this is a Heroes of Newerth quick tip. Today we're going to go over starting items. This is a big thing, huge thing. The start of the game is pretty much the foundation of everything that follows afterwards. And one of the greatest mistakes you can do is to get the absolute wrong starting items. Too often I see people go for an early blood chalice or overload on stats and everything, and it's quite bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at starting items for a couple of basic classes, starting with the support. Now, Glacius is probably the best support in the game. Damn near, definitely the top 5 if not that. So, start of the game you have 603 gold. Here's exactly what you do when you're support, and don't try anything else. Number 1, upgrade the courier. It is an immense advantage to your mid and to your lanes. If your mid lane and lanes have the advantage of a flying courier and the opposing team don't, you will win mid, unless there is an immense skill difference between the two players there. It is gigantically huge, the fact that they can get their bottle there fast, back and forth, they can get their boots as soon as they can afford it. Mid lane can send it to ferry, especially bottom lane, can ferry region back and forth and stop them from having to go back to base. It's huge, you want to do it. After that, you want to get 2 minor totems, health potion, runes to the blight, and a ward. This is it. The only reason I haven't got left over is because the game's already started. 2 minor totems is 2 strength, 2 agility, 2 intelligence. You get extra mana, extra HP. It's big, and more important that they eventually build into a power supply, which is close to the most overpowered item in the game, all the way until late game. You need health regen more than anything else, because in the lane you will be spamming your auto attacks. Well, obviously as harassing tool, not just like against creeps, because that'll be horrible. You want to hit hard, and you have the binding totems to help you hit a little bit harder, and you want to be able to take a bit of punishment. If you don't have any regen, like you get harassed, you get down to half health, and there's nothing you can do, because moving close to the enemy team means you're just gonna die. So you need the regen. Runes of the Blight is perfect for the stuff that's not really in a panic. Oh, you're down like about 100 health, you know, pop them, and you can still go in there. Save the rune of the health potion until you're very low. Or worst case scenario, like if you're in a battle and you think you can pop it to gain like just half a second of regen, it's huge. You might be able to save your life and earn yourself a bloodlust or avoid a bloodlust. And then finally, the ward. I hope I don't have to tell you how important wards are. Like, if power supply is probably the greatest item in the game, that's a lie, because wards are the greatest item in the game. Incredibly overpowered. For only 100 gold you get vision, and vision is so huge. That is the support items of choice. So, you know, I'll go have a guide on warding later on, but for now I can tell you, if you're Legion bottom, put it here. That'll give you vision over the rune. I'm gonna give you vision all the way over here to see if anyone's trying to come behind you. That's for support. Okay, now we're going to go over a different role. Okay, so here we have a melee carry. First of all, Sashi Swiftblade, amazing skin. If you missed out on buying this one, you missed out. She's awesome. Anyway, again, you have 603 gold. What do you want to do? Well, as a carry, you need 2 things. You need to not die, and you need to get last hits. Now, there is 2 things to this that's really important. Number 1, you need to not die. The biggest thing for you to not die is the shield. The Iron Buckler saves you so much potential damage in terms of RS. It gives you 60% chance to block 20 attack damage is huge. If you're a melee carry, you need it. Like, or you're gonna get harassed and sit there at half health and not being able to go in and get your last hits. Second of all, the hatchet. The Logger's Hatchet increases your damage versus creeps immensely. It is really, really big. You can do it without it. The better your last hits, the less you need the Logger's Hatchet. But being able to have it gives you the edge versus anyone that doesn't, and it makes sure this just a lot easier. Of course, the big thing is that you can toss the hatchet, so you can actually get last hit on creeps that are far away from you. It, in my opinion, is pretty much a necessity. Finally, with the 130 gold or so you have left over, you have a choice between either Runes of Blight or a mana pot. I normally stick with a mana pot. I figure that's health potion. I figure that's will usually end up giving you, if you get a full-on health potion for all the 10 seconds, it gives you more total regeneration than your runes, and it can save you, and it's big. If they spend a lot of time harassing you, you get down to low health, step in the forest for like 6-7 seconds, use the health potion, and you're back up to full. It is pretty huge. Additionally, the shield works well if you want to eventually buy a Helm of the Black Legion, which is not a bad idea on most heroes. And if you're not, then there's likelihood you'll be going for a Nullstone or a Runed Axe. So in that case, either way, you'll be getting your life tube as soon as possible from the outpost. The life tube, if you have a life tube and a shield, you are more or less unharassable. But yeah, this is basically what you need to do if you're a melee carry. Okay. Now let's take a look at another class.
Let's check it out.
And for the third role we're going to be covering for this video, we have the ranged carry. Good old Valkyrie, one of my favorite heroes. Now, obviously you can't get a shield. Well, you can, but the shield is only half as good for a ranged hero. It only subs 10 damage instead of 20. And a hatchet is only 12% damage instead of 32% damage. So both of those are very nerfed for ranged hero, and is really not what you'll be going for. Now, there's basically two options you can go for. One is for an early Ring of the Teacher. A Ring of the Teacher is very good, and if you do, you want to get your Guardian Ring, and then you can follow that up with a little bit of supplies, which would be one of these and one of these, and then of course you want your totems, which are here. Always 2 totems. Now, 132 left over. You could do something with this. I'm actually quite fond of just waiting, so you can buy your Ring of the Teacher as early as possible in the lane. You can buy a Sobe's Mask right here for 325 gold, so you don't need that much. You need less than 200 gold, which is like 4 last hits, and you've already got your Ring of the Teacher, which will get you mana regen going, will give you armor, and a little bit extra damage. It's quite good. Now, if you don't want that, you can always go for another build. This build is more useful if, for example, your lane mate is already planning on getting Ring of the Teacher, or if maybe if you're going mid and you're not going for an early bottle, or if you just want more damage. And if you want more damage, what you want is, well, if you're agility, you obviously go Luck Boots. If you're intellect, you go the other thing, and if you're strength, you go the other thing, but that's not very common. You follow up with 2 mana totems, health pots, and runes. It's almost full. You've only got 7 gold left, and you've got a pretty decent going. You've got 6 plus, you've got 8 of your primary stats, 2 of a little bit of the others, and you've got plenty of regen. This will make it so that you have a fairly decent advantage in terms of last hits versus anyone who didn't get these sort of items, and you have regen to stay alive, just in case you get into any harass battles. It's definitely worth it. It's a choice you make between this and Ring of the Teacher. Ring of the Teacher is a very good item, but sometimes you just want to get your last hit going. And if you're up against for example, a melee carry with a shield and a hatchet, you're going to need all the damage you can get, so that's why you get your primary stat ability. So that's about it in terms of starting items. There are other roles you can go for. Like if you go mid, you might want to get a really rare bottle, so you save a fair bit of gold. I've seen a lot of weird ass builds, but honestly, these 3 different builds should sort pretty much any hero. Like, there's a few that you might want to have different on. If you go melee support, you might want a shield but not a hatchet because you're not really there for last hits. But for the most part, this is going to serve you well. When you get to a higher level of skill, you are generally good enough at the game that you can decide for yourself what's a good level of starting items. Anyway, thank you for joining me in this first episode of Quick Tips. So, thank you, and I'll see you next time, where we will most likely be covering laning. Goodbye.